Hey, how's it going guys? My name is Ben. Thank you so much for joining me today for this quick video tutorial on how to play Lost in Paris by Tom Misch. Tom Misch. Yeah, I really appreciate you taking the time to check this out. This is a really cool little hook, little riff that goes from the intro to the song and over the verses of the song Lost in Paris. I'd say it's sort of an intermediate guitar part. So if you're an absolute beginner, maybe save this to your watch later and check it out on a later date, or give it a go, watch anyway. You really might learn something. It's super cool and super fun to play. Let's get into it. All right, for this song, you aren't gonna need a pick, so get rid of that and you're just gonna use your hand with no pick. If you're not super comfortable and super experienced with playing without a pick, this is probably a good opportunity to throw it away and give it a go. This riff sort of doesn't work with a pick. It's kind of hard to do it. And if you're not so good with your right hand, it'll be a really cool challenge and really helpful in the future down the track to know how to finger pick and pluck and do all those sort of things. The first thing we're going to start off with is an F sharp minor 7 chord. You can do it sort of like this and bar the entire second fret with your first finger. Essentially, we're only going to be playing the E string, the D, the G, and the B, and those notes are F sharp, E, A, and C sharp. I prefer to do it like this. So it's like an A chord with your first finger. So instead of playing A like this, you play A like this, and then you whack your thumb on the second fret and make that F sharp minor 7. And what we're going to do is start off by just plucking all 4 of those strings. That's the very first part, like that. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to hit, on the high E string, we're going to hit G sharp and F sharp. Now, I don't know exactly how he does it, but I like to put little sort of ghost notes, I guess you could call them, in between certain phrases, because it's not straight there. There's a bit of a gap. And sometimes I kind of go and just sort of pluck a muted string. Kind of thing adds a nice bit of feel to it. I'm not exactly sure if he's doing that sort of buried under other things, but he might be. So we got, and then after that, we're going to basically slide up our first chord, F sharp minor 7, up to the 4th fret. We're not going to worry about the low E string for this next chord, so you don't need your thumb for this. We're doing those 3 notes on the 4th fret of D, G, and B. So we're playing F sharp, B, and D sharp. And then what we do is this pretty simple run, but it's a little quick, so it might be good to sort of work up your speed to be able to get this. But we're going to run down basically a B major pentatonic scale. We're not going to pluck every single note. What we're going to do is sort of hit the first high E string on the B and pull off to G sharp on the 4th fret. And then the exact same thing on the next string, pulling off from F sharp to D sharp. And then on the G string, we're going to pull off C sharp to B. Essentially that. So far it sounds like this. After that, we're going to go to this chord, which if you've never played this chord before, it's going to be very helpful for you to learn this, because we're going to do this in multiple places all over the guitar for this song. Essentially what this chord is, in this position anyway, is an F sharp over G sharp. It's based around an F sharp major bar chord, except we're not worrying about our E string, our A string, or our high E string, and we're just playing it like an inversion, like a triad. But it's going to be best to play it with your 1st, your 2nd, and your 4th fingers. And then so you can put your 3rd up here on this G sharp on the E string. All the notes are G sharp on the low E, you've got F sharp on the D string, you've got A sharp on the G string, and you've got C sharp with your 1st finger on the B string. So that's like that. So for this F sharp over G sharp chord, you're going to pluck the low E, the D, the G, and the B string first. And now he does some sort of thing where he goes after that, and I'm hearing this A sharp there, so I'm hearing like a that sort of thing. So you're going to pluck those 4 notes, right? E, D, G, B, and then you're going to pluck the G string and the high E string, and then you're going to pluck the G string and the B string. So like, I sort of don't play it like that. It's probably just a bad habit, but if you've got a really keen eye, you'll notice in the beginning that I did something more like, where I did B and E, then G and B, but I am hearing that A sharp throughout. That exact same chord that we're doing down here, F sharp over G sharp, sliding it up 3 frets until we get to A over B. So those notes are B, A, C sharp, and E. So then you're going to pluck the same strings, E, D, G, and B. Then you're going to leave a bit of a gap again, and I kind of put a little plucked muted note in there for like a little ghost note. And then we're going to do this thing here. It's kind of a run up an E major scale. So 3 notes on the B string, E, F sharp, G sharp, which is 5th, 7th and 9th frets. And then on the high E string, we're going to play B and C sharp, or 7th and 9th fret. What I'm hearing is he's hitting the first 2, and then he's sliding up to the next one, and he's hitting the B and then hammering onto the C sharp. For the next part, we're going to play basically the same thing. We're going to play this. So that F sharp minor 7 with that G sharp and F sharp, then the little B major triad and down the B major pentatonic scale. And if you need to go over that again, just go back and watch again because it's identical. And then this time we're going to come down to the F sharp over G sharp chord again, but all we're going to do is pluck those 4 strings, E, D, G and B. And then here's where you're going to move this chord all the way sort of up until we get up here. You're going to play F sharp over G sharp, slide it up 2 frets to G sharp over A sharp, up another fret to A over B, then up another 2 frets to B over C sharp, then up another 2 frets to C sharp over D sharp, and then one last jump up to E over F sharp. So we've got alright, you might have to go back, sort of slow it down again. Referring to the bass note, I'll quickly tell you what frets they are. So 4th fret, 6th fret, 7th, 9th, 11th, 14. So that sounds like this. That can be a little tricky at first, kind of keeping that shape intact and kind of making sure you're hitting the right places. So just start getting it at a really slow tempo before you kind of start to speed it up to the main speed of the song. That in total there is the first half of the riff and sort of the intro, because then he starts to sing over the next part, which I'll show you. But my suggestion is always to learn things in sort of slow increments, especially if you're struggling with it or it's not quite perfect, it's not quite clean or nailed, is just stop, learn the first couple of things before you move on to the rest, because I think it's really awesome to be able to nail something before you move on to something else. Okay, I'll quickly show you that whole first half of the hook at a slower tempo so that you can get a feel for how it all glues together. Okay, the good news is the next part of the song, half of it is exactly the same as the first half of the first half that we learned. So we're going to do this. Actually more than half. So that's what we do the second time. And all we do differently in this part is instead of doing this chord all the way up to 14, we'll do it like this. So what that is, in case you missed it, was F sharp over G sharp, so 4th fret, up to our G sharp over A sharp on the 6th fret, up to our B over A, 7th fret, and then after this, all you're going to do is move your first and second fingers down 1 fret. So from A over B, we're going to essentially flatten our 3rd and flatten our 5th down to that, which is a really, really cool chord. It looks like an A diminished triad over B. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's what that chord is. So the entire second half of the track goes like this. And that's the whole thing. So head to the beginning of the video to watch how it all kind of comes together. Go and listen to the song, it's really, really cool. There are more hooks and lots of guitars throughout the track, so if you are interested in learning any more of the song, hit me up in the comments, let me know if that's something you want to do, and I might be able to make a video teaching the rest of the track. Thanks to Tom Misch for writing this awesome tune that we can all learn on the guitar. It is a really cool one because there's some different and interesting chords that you may not have played in the song. It sort of forces you maybe outside of a bubble or of a rut that you've sort of been in to learn some new chords, learn how to use your fingers instead of a pick, whatever it is. I think there's a cool little challenge in this song for pretty much everyone. Again, I really, really appreciate you taking the time to check this out. I hope it's helped. I hope you've learned something from this, even if it's more than just how to play a song, but you've learned something else about the guitar, or you've learned a new technique, some new chords, whatever that may be. I just hope that you learned something from this. Hit that like button, subscribe, hit the bell, those YouTube things, because that, I guess, really helps me out on my end to make more videos in the future, and yeah, to help and to learn and to grow myself. Enjoy the rest of your day or your night or your week. Have fun playing this killer track. Yeah, see you in the next one.